family, that lineage. The lineage that's there right now is not the same tribe.
When did the lineage break?
I don't know, probably when the 12 tribes were scattered around the globe.
Isn't Armageddon supposed to happen in Judea?
Bro, are you trolling, man?
No, it's a serious question. I'm not trolling.
What was the question?
Isn't Armageddon supposed to happen in Judea?
Well, if you're talking about biblically and that kind of stuff, you know, that's a whole different ball game. But no, there is something called a doomsday clock, excuse me. So that is something that people do actually look at, and that just talks about the proliferation of nuclear war or things like that. I don't know if that's what you're talking about. I just came in here, but if you're talking about something biblically, I don't know if we'll have time to get into that, but biblically people do believe the end times will happen where Jerusalem, where that sits today, and that's why people fight over trying to erase Jerusalem off the face of the earth. Even religious books older than the Bible speaks of some of that kind of stuff, because that kind of fighting and stuff went on even in that era. So it's like a country like ours trying to deal with religious wars or things like that. I don't know if America, you can't bomb ideology away. I don't know if that's what you're talking about, but you can't bomb that kind of stuff away. And it's very difficult for the United States to continue to militarily think they're going to, I don't know, root up the problem that's going on over there. A lot of that's based on ideology, and a lot of that's based on religion and stuff like that, not necessarily resources. That's what I read based in the Bible. A lot of that's based on religion. Make sense to you?
Well, you said the Bible talks about nuclear war?
Well, the Bible talks about the end times, not nuclear war. The doomsday clock talks about, you know, nuclear proliferation and stuff like that. The Bible talks about the end times when God talks about coming to earth, and how that 7 years, there's 7 years of peace if you read that, and then you go on to understand that when he comes, after that 7 years of peace, that's when Revelation's supposed to happen. And that's when the world is supposed to come to condemnation and all of those things. So yeah, the Bible does speak of the end of the earth.
Ashton, I think it's 7 years of peace treaty, but then it gets broken after like 3 years, right? If I remember
The
correctly.
Bible holds steady for 7. I didn't read in the Bible or even other books. The Quran didn't talk about, even that did not talk about a contract being broken. I'd like to see that in the Revelations. It holds steady to 7 years in the Bible. The Quran talks about some other stuff dealing with the end times, but those religious books are pretty much on the mark with things that happen in the end times, including rumors of war. It does not talk about nuclear war, but it does talk about the proliferation of war throughout the earth, and that is happening right now over in that part of the world, because remember, in America, that wasn't even thought of in the Bible. It wasn't, no one, you know, let's be real, that wasn't thought of. But that part of the world is what they talk about, and that's what they believe the end times will happen, is over in that part of the world, not here necessarily in the United States. But the end times would affect everybody on the earth.
So I do want to address that Haitian, I'm reading this, and it's talking about genetic evidence. They are related to the modern day Haitians on the front. So when he was saying something about they're not the original, they are.
What is the name of this tribe, Mel? Did you guys hear the question that the guy asked? I know Patty did, but did everybody else?
I did. I just came in on the tail end. I didn't know the name of the tribe that he was talking about.
So I was gonna have him ask the question again. S500, ask the question that you answered from the first question.